everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, my name is Lauren and I am mum of two girls, Jessica who is 4 and Connie who is now 9 weeks old. Yes, 9 weeks old, she'll be 10 weeks old in 3 days time. I just before I get started, I just want to tell you my reasons for doing this video. It isn't to pretend that I know everything about parenting. I absolutely do not, and you will see that as you watch on. I'm relatively new to this, my eldest just being 4. I am not a superhero expert mother, but my reasons for doing this video is it is something that I've struggled with, especially in the last few months since Connie's been born. And I think it's really, really important to talk about it. And it's really just me talking about it and saying, I'm not saying you should do this, you should listen to me. I'm saying, this is what's happening. And there might be somebody out there who is going through the same thing as me. And it just might help them just to know that I'm going through it too. So we can kind of be in it together, and it definitely helps to know that you are not the only one. So my video today is, you've guessed it, you will have read the title, it's about mum guilt. And this is something that I've really learned recently, is something that you suffer with when you are a mum. And it could be something so minor, but you feel such a deep guilt about. So I feel like being a mum is just being guilty all the time. It's not. I absolutely love being a mum, don't get me wrong. But there is so much guilt that comes with it. And I'm also not trying to paint it out to be a bad thing at all. You know, it's just a normal thing that I think everybody goes through. And up until recently, I didn't realise how much everybody does. It's not just me. So yes, mum guilt. Whether it be going out with your friends for the first time after the baby's been born and feeling that guilt that you're going out and having fun and leaving your baby alone with dad or granny or whoever, or it be when you go back to work and putting the baby into nursery. I have been there, leaving a 9-month-old baby, 8-month-old baby at a nursery and going off to work has to be one of the most guilty experiences of my life. Not sure if that's the right way to describe it, but never mind. Going away for a weekend, oh my goodness, I have got a big birthday coming up. No, it's not my 21st, it's my 30th. And my husband Peter has suggested that we go away without the children. And I'm like, yes, but still deep down I'm thinking, oh, I feel really guilty. You know, it's constant. I started really, 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 really struggling with mum guilt a few weeks before Connie was born. I always knew I wanted more than one child, and I think I'm going to do another video on introducing siblings and how to kind of cope with becoming a mum of 2. I'm going to do a separate video about that. But I found that when I found out I was pregnant with Connie and I found out we were having a girl and things, you know, I tried to include Jessica as much as possible. But 2 weeks probably before having Connie, I had this absolute feeling of just complete guilt. And I just thought, what am I doing to this child that I normally have? What if I ruin her life? I know it's dramatic, but that is how I felt at the time. And I just had this feeling of, I am doing this to her. It is all me. I know that her husband did have a part of it as well, but I wasn't thinking like that at the time. And I just had this awful feeling, and I could cry thinking about it at the time. I could cry thinking about saying goodbye to Jessica before I go into hospital, because I just felt this absolute guilt that I was doing something so life-changing for her. My way of getting around it was, I just kept thinking to myself, well, what was I going to do? Was I just going to let her be an only child? No, that was never going to be an option. Obviously, you know, all being well that I could have another child, I wanted to have another child. So I just kept thinking, realistically, what was the other option? Not have any more babies, and I want her to have a sibling like I have had. and to grow up with a family, a big family. Um, so that was kind of my way of getting around it. I didn't really talk too much about how I was feeling to anybody at the time because I don't talk a lot about things like that. But I'm learning to do it more because what I have learned is that getting it out and airing it does help, because then you realise that other people are going through the same thing as you. I've been so lucky because when Connie did come along, Jessica has taken to being a big sister absolutely brilliantly. Like, I really, really, really could not ask for any better. She adores Connie, and that is a big battle, and that makes me feel so much better. So my mum guilt was subsiding quite a lot, and we've tried to do everything together. When Connie's been around, Jessica helps, and I try and explain to her, like, why I can't do things or why Connie can't do things, because at the moment she's like, why can't you play with me? Like, it's all new, but I'm trying to include her. I had this is what has triggered me doing this video. On Saturday, I had possibly the very worst day of mum guilt ever. And since Connie's been born, I haven't been teary or like, I haven't really had the kind of ups and downs. Connie is a fantastic baby, and she's a dream to have around. She really is. So, and I haven't had that kind of like newborn, like, oh, kind of blue moments. I've been really lucky. I've just kind of been out and about, and the mid no, not the midwife, the health visitor did say to me sometimes a bit later on, like when the baby's a couple of months old and life is getting back to normal, you can start to feel a bit low. And Saturday was one of those days for me. And my the reason was I was feeling so guilty. That was the thing that triggered it. And what happened was, my husband Peter went out in the afternoon. Absolutely no problem with that at all, and I'm not saying it was his fault for going out. And I was on my own with both the girls, which isn't a rare thing. I know it's quite common. Peter plays rugby, um, and on a Saturday it isn't rare for me to be on my own, and I'm fine with that. And basically what happened was, Connie had her injections a few days before, and she's been quite unsettled for her. And I had a day of where she just didn't want to be put down. She was really, really clingy, and she was really tearful and just wanted to be cuddled, which is fine. Um, but obviously I had Jessica as well, and we're having a day in the house, which is also a rare thing for me because we tend to be out and about a lot. And we were having a day in the house. It was a freezing cold day. We just all felt really cold and shivery, and we just wanted to be inside. And Jessica obviously wanted to play with me, wanted me to help her do things, and Saturday just did not allow me to do that. It wasn't a day where I could be really hands on with Jessica, and I felt so guilty, like unbearably guilty, to the point where I was about to cry. Every time I put Connie down, she'd be asleep in my arms, I'd put her down, she'd wake up. If you're a mum, you know the feeling. And so I felt absolutely guilty. All Jessica wanted to do was wrap presents with me. She'd asked me all week, can we wrap some Christmas presents together? You need both hands to wrap Christmas presents. I could not do it. And I just felt awful. And the thing that made me feel even more awful, which sounds ridiculous because you think it would be the other way around, was that Jessica was so good about it. And she just kept being so reasonable. And she said to me, I'm going to go and get my workbooks, Mum. I'm going to practice my handwriting. I know that you're busy. And that broke my heart, because I'm sitting there thinking, like, oh, I teared up a bit there. Hang on a second, while I compose myself. I wasn't expecting this. It just made me feel so guilty. And when I look back now, and my cousin helped me see this yesterday, she said, why are you feeling guilty? What you should be feeling is pride that Jessica is so good and can um, deal with all these changes so well. And that is something that I'm trying to take from it. It's so ridiculous. I don't know why I'm so upset about one day of not being able to wrap Christmas presents with my daughter. It's so silly, but this is what happens, and this is mum life. I keep saying this. This is real life. Um, Something so small and simple can make you feel like this. And she was just fantastic. She was great, and she went to bed. She was absolutely fine. And when she went to bed, she was just more than happy. So I'm trying to kind of think of the things that I would say are tips to deal with it. And one of the main things is talk. If you have got an older child, if you're in a similar situation to me, and that's where your guilt's coming from, talk to them. I was sitting on this very chair holding Connie. Jessica was on the floor wrapping her own presents for Connie. Um, and I said to her, how does it make you feel when Connie cries? And she said, what do you mean? And I said, well, does it make you feel annoyed with her or angry, or does it make you feel sad that she's crying? And she said, I don't like it when she cries, but it doesn't make me not like her. And she said, I understand that babies cry. And I think it's really important. And I think Jessica knew, because I said to her a few times, I'm sorry I can't do this at the moment with you, but I promise I will be able to wrap presents with you another time. You know, I think it's important to voice that you are sorry and that you are aware that you're not as hands-on as you normally would be. And I guess it is just something they're going to have to deal with when they're an older sibling. It just is something that is always going to be there. They have to share our time, and that is it. That's it. They've got to deal with it. Another thing that I find really helped me on, I found really, really helped me on Saturday was I was about to cry and I texted my friend and I told her, I said, I am about to have a meltdown. And she was there and she said something like, you're doing great. Just remember you can't do everything. You make it look easy. I don't know how you do it. Right? It was something along those lines. And it wasn't me fishing for compliments, but it really, really helped me. And it just made me go, yeah, yeah, I'm doing all right actually. Come on, pull yourself together a bit. There's just no need. So, mum guilt is a real thing, and I'm suffering with it a lot. I'm sure there's other mums out there suffering with it too. You are not alone at all. And I read an article recently, and it was on Facebook. I'm not reading it in newspapers or anything. It was on Facebook. Um, and it keeps coming back to me, and I keep getting it in the back of my head, and it's kind of like a reasoning for a lot of things. So, for instance, for staying in the house and doing nothing, which is something I never do, and I feel guilty about doing that. I feel guilty about sitting on my own sofa in the day. I, I just, I don't understand. Well, I do. It's just not in my nature to sit and do nothing. Um, but this article, I keep bringing up to myself when I'm feeling certain ways, and I've said it to a friend as well when she's been struggling. So it was an article that I read, and I'll link it below if I can find it. And it said something along the lines of, do not, when you have a baby or children, do not ever think that you have done nothing. So me doing nothing on Saturday. I bet you anything that child is fed and clothed and watered. That is not nothing, that is everything. And it's true, you know. My friend was right, you can't do everything, but, you've got the basics there, you're doing a good job and you're holding it together. So that is me. That was the emotional vlog of the day, and which really surprised me actually. I didn't realise it would upset me so much. Never mind. Um, it's good to talk about these things. So this is me. This is mum life. Sorry, I was lying back on my chair there, very relaxed, wasn't I? Very comfortable. Um, that is it. So comment below. I bet you anything I am not the only person suffering with this, and I think it's good to feel part of a team. I have got this. I have. And if I have, you have too. So we've got this together. Okay? Thank you very, very much for watching, guys. Sorry, it's a bit of a ranty kind of, oh, things are awful, but they're not. They are not awful at all. And the next day was a completely new day, and I felt great. Um, if you like the video, hit like. You know, show me some support. I'm new to this. I'm also new to Instagram as well, so if you want to give me a shout on Instagram, feel free. I will link it below, but it's Lauren Jane Line on Instagram as well. And thank you for watching. Subscribe, because I really, 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 really appreciate the support. I'm on maternity leave. I'm filling my time, and I'm just trying to kind of reach out to people who might be going through the same things as me, or who might not be, but are just being a bit nosy. So I will see you next time, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy your week. Take care. Bye.